Finally getting around to replacing this CV boot that came off that white Honda that we removed the other day. Thought I'd do a quick video just in case somebody's in the same position. Let's see, before I get started, I'm going to use a razor knife to cut that off and a cutoff wheel to cut these bands. I can provide a link to these parts here. I buy these on Amazon, and I already got some new grease. I got a used boot. It's still good from a previously broken axle, so I think I got everything I need ready. Don't forget to squint.
I'm gonna put these out before I get myself covered in grease. These boots behind me, these are pretty tough.
Alright, I want to carry this to the bench so I don't drop stuff. Alright, we're back looking here. On this side, there's a snap ring in here that you have to move to pull the CV out. On this side, there is not. So the way to get the CV out is first you have to pull the shaft, then you can twist this cage enough you can get all the balls to come out. You can do this in the vise where I had it, but a lot of times this will go flying once it comes loose. I'm going to try it here first and see if it will come out. If it doesn't, then I'll go back to the vise. And I should say, you don't want the punch to get down here on the bearing surface, so you want to hit right here. If you go down in here, you're going to scratch that, then the CV is going to be clicking, and it probably won't last very long. Alright, wasn't too bad. Here's a snap ring. We need to hang on to that. Don't let that fall out. And I'll just put this off to the side. Now hopefully these will come out pretty easy. Turn this enough. Now if we had not been riding and got dirt in here, then I wouldn't be worried about taking this apart. But because we have driven several miles, this is dirty and I need to get this grease out. So the idea is to get this to spin, turn over here enough. Right now I'm tapping it down here on the splines, just trying to get that to turn enough to pop these out. And if it doesn't just pop out easy, I'm not going to force it because, again, I don't want to scratch it. All right, very important part here. These pieces only go one way, so you've got to remember this orientation. And you have to spin them to get them out. So a lot of times what I will do is clean this off and mark it. And it's not always easy to mark it with a marker because it's greasy. I've got a little engraver tool. I'm just going to put a scratch on this where it's not part of the bearing surface. Also, that scratch will be there the next time I have to do this. All right, that may not be real visible to you guys, but all right, I'm back. Someone come through the shop, interrupted. Anyway, a minute ago I was trying to pull it all together, but I forgot. You pull just the inner race. May have to give it a tug. So again, I've got this marked, and it does only go one way. Now, the cage can come out, hopefully. Probably could still do a decent job of cleaning without pulling the cage. You don't have to mark the cage because there's a thin side here, and that's the outside. And this thicker side is what goes towards the inside. So I'm going to clean all this up and then come back and reassemble. All right, I've got all this cleaned up. You see here, you guys again probably can't see my scratch, but I've got the orientation right, or I know how to put it back together. So here we go. First thing, don't forget about the band, then the boot. On the front axles, you can slide them all the way back. But the rear axles are thicker, so it won't go all the way back. Alright, let me see if I can go ahead and tear this. I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the inside. This is the grease that comes with the Honda kit. Alright, put the cage back in, oriented with the thin side out. Now, I can see my mark, so this is the side that goes out. Drop it in. Not too bad. Now, turn it up and start popping these back in. All right, we got most of this cleaned up. We're going to put the band on now, the small one. I'm going to use the aftermarket band. This is ones I picked up, a box of them on Amazon. They're quite a bit cheaper than OEM, and they work pretty good. And I'll provide a link to those and this, the crimping tool. One thing that helps is we got to squeeze this thing down to such a small diameter. It's a little bit bigger. I like to cut some of that off. Make sure there's no burr on there. All right, I'm going to pre-bend this just a little bit. Just a little bit. Make it somewhat easier. I need to bend that just a little bit more, make it easier. I don't know if you can see it, but there are 3 teeth here. All 3 of those need to fall into one of these holes in the band. I'm going to bend that side down a little bit just to help ensure that these will hook. Having these greasy gloves will help. Alright, I got it to click in. However, I think it's too loose. If I was to squeeze it now, it probably wouldn't be tight enough, so I'm going to try to go one more click, I hope. Sometimes it helps when you got it in there pretty tight. Put something else in here to try to open it back up while you're holding on it and help those teeth engage. See if that'll hold. Alright, that one's quite a bit tighter. So now we're going to squeeze it just to make sure that these teeth are in there. I'm going to put my thumb on and push them into the band. I'll squeeze a little bit. And then I want to look, looks like all 3 are engaged. Just to make sure, I'm going to tap that loose end down. And I'll squeeze that just a little bit more. Again, can't squeeze these way too tight because these will break. You can break the OEM bands too. They're just quite a bit tougher. And the box comes with 20 of these or 40 of them or whatever, so it doesn't matter if I break one really. Now I'm going to use the OEM band on the big end here. These OEM bands are reusable. I did take this one off, so it's a little bit greasy or whatever. This one is the small one, and the other end is bigger. Don't get those mixed up. They do print the measurement on them, but you'd never get this one tight on the other end, and this one down here would never tighten up enough on this one. So there's 3 teeth on this band. This one here and this one here is where the pliers hook, and you have to get the middle tooth to click in under here. I have found that when using these pliers, which I'll provide the link to, that I sharpen the inside a little bit, and that helps them grab better. There is a channel for this band to sit in. If you're not in that channel, these bands just won't reach. They're that close. Look around, it looks like it's in there. Extra set of hands usually helps, especially some that aren't so greasy. had to try to hook the pliers on the loose end and pull hard enough to get it on the others. Now you just have to squeeze real hard, push that over, make sure it's lined up until you hear it click. You guys may not have been able to hear that. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but I can see the tooth inside that hole, so it definitely went in place. Now that band is solid. And there we have it. I'll finish cleaning this up and we will put it back in.